What's up, what's up, guys? Uh, Today, I'm gonna tell you the truth, the real truth about psychedelics. Now, if you haven't seen my psychedelics at home video, I recommend you go check that one out too. That's gonna be a really good video describing my thoughts on psychedelics, but this is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be like the hard truth behind psychedelics, right? Not the hard truth, just the truth. That's what I mean by it. Now, as you know, a lot of people recommend psychedelics over like harder drugs. Oh, I'm not like that. I'm into the hard shit. The hard shit. I'm not fucking with these psychedelics now. This is coming from someone who has taken a lot of fucking psychedelics. Like, I have story times about 11 grams of shrooms with 3 tabs of acid with some Molly. Like, what is that, a Jedi flip? I've done so many shrooms, so much acid, very high doses for very extended periods of time. And I honestly don't recommend psychedelics, fam. Like, now, one thing I want to add in to, like, why they say Molly is a psychedelic. Now, I don't really consider Molly a psychedelic. It might change your vision a bit, but it don't make it a psychedelic. Like, Coke is gonna light up the room. Coke isn't a fucking psychedelic. Like, if you're gonna call Molly a psychedelic, I'm gonna call Coke a psychedelic, you know what I mean? Both drugs I recommend. But the reason why they say Molly is a psychedelic, in my opinion, this is what, like, I'm pretty sure of. This is the conclusion I've came to. When you find out that psychedelics aren't really that good, like, you shouldn't really be taking them that much, you're gonna think of Molly, and you're gonna be like, wait, Molly is a psychedelic, so you're gonna want to stay away from that. But it's really not. They just throw it in there, because, like, when you find that out, you're gonna want to stay away from Molly. Now, Molly and Coke are my 2 favorite drugs, fam. 2 favorite drugs. Next to a Percocet, which I haven't tried yet. But those are my 2 favorite drugs. But let's get back to the psychedelics and, like, why people say psychedelics are so good for you. Basically, they just fuck with your thinking. They're gonna get you into, like, sometimes a paranoid state, but overall, it's gonna be like a paranoid state, right? It's gonna get you into a state where your thinking is just through the roof. Through the fucking roof. Like, you're gonna be thinking you're escaping the Matrix and shit, and you're breaking through all these layers of the Matrix exactly like I fucking did. And it's gonna send you into this parallel universe, fam. This parallel fucking universe where you just think you know what the fuck is going on, but you know you have no idea what the fuck is going on also, but you're not sure that you don't know. And you're gonna think you know what's going on, and then when you realize you don't, you're gonna be like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? Yeah, so people, these spiritual people that think they're on, like, another level, they don't think that, fam. They're fucking lying to you. They push these psychedelics, so you want to get to that level as well, and you also find it entertaining. I mean, these can be pretty fun. I'm not going to deny that, but they can also be pretty mentally intoxicating. Unlike, now, Molly, Coke, drinking, it's mentally intoxicating, right? But not in the way that I'm talking about. Not in the way of just completely fucking up your thinking and your reality and your world. Now, they're going to push these drugs, right? So you're going to want to get to this spiritual level that they're at. They're fucking lying to you. They're all off Percocets and shit. Like, some Molly, some Coke, like, tobacco, all that shit. That's the good shit. All the shit I recommend on my channel. I have many videos, like how to mix the pot, great substances, all that. Check them out. But yeah, they push these psychedelics. So you're gonna be thinking that you're doing something great. So, like, when this brings me to, like, an interesting point. When you think you're doing something good, like you're doing something spiritual and healthy, you're gonna think that the information that you get while you're on these psychedelics, that just comes from your wild thinking. Like, you're gonna think that wild thinking is accurate, because you're gonna be thinking that you're doing something good. But these drugs are just out of this world, but can also be fun. So that's the thing. So, like, I don't say never try them. I just say it's not something you want to, like, get into. And maybe it's something you got into, and that's fine. That's exactly what I did. I got into them heavy. But, like, once I found this out, I just stopped taking them. That's all it takes. That's all you need to do. Like, nothing bad is going to happen. Nothing negative is going to happen besides what I mentioned, but behind taking these psychedelics. But you're not going to die. right? So if you get the main idea, these people, maybe not even spiritual people, but also spiritual people, will push these psychedelics. So when you get into some wild thinking from these psychedelics, you think you're on the right path, you think you're doing something good, but you're thinking crazy, fam. Like maybe you come up with some good shit on psychedelics, maybe you break through some layers, but a lot of the times you can think some shit that's just completely wrong and then think you're thinking the right shit just because you're on psychedelics, you know what I mean? Just because these people say it's good. And like that can be really not unfair, but like just not the best situation if you came up with a wrong conclusion, you know what I mean? Or maybe even like a scary conclusion that's completely untrue. You know what I mean? So like that's like a nasty strategy for taking for like people pushing these psychedelics, which don't recommend. Now, what are some drugs that I do recommend? Pretty much anything fucking else besides psychedelics. Like Molly's good for you, coke's good for you, do some Xans, like some fucking meth if you want. Like no, you're not gonna find meth, but like everything else is fine. Everything else is not gonna do anything bad, but none of this is gonna kill you. Like even psychedelics, you know what I mean? None of this is gonna do anything bad at the end of the day. But it can get you into a situation that you have to get yourself out of. Like certain things that you think are true that aren't true. And just like a lot of paranoia when you're on them in the moment sometimes, like you just want to avoid. Like you're not even going to tell me that every time you take psychedelics, it's a good trip. Like you can have fun times, but you're going to, in the back of your head, it's like, oh, this is kind of like wild, you know what I mean? Now, again, this is coming from someone that was very into psychedelics, high amounts, all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Stick to like Molly and Coke. No, I didn't mention coffee, but I drink a lot of coffee. I smoke a lot of tobacco. I love Molly and Coke, as I said. And I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette right now. And if you haven't seen my video on some really good products to fill up on in large amounts, these are all some of them. You know what I mean? But not psychedelics. Hope you enjoyed. Have fun either way. Peace. Oh, but one last thing. I'm gonna say like a little safety tip, like if you are gonna take psychedelics anyway, make sure you have some like Xanax with you. Not as a trip killer, that's some bullshit. But just to take with the acid or the shrooms, just to have a less paranoid trip. Like I just don't want you to have a bad time, you know what I mean? But as well as like taking like Molly, if you take acid or shrooms, that's gonna make it a lot better time and in a lot mentally better time. So if you're taking acid or shrooms, I recommend taking Xanax or Molly with it, or both. So that's that. And yeah, that's the video. Have fun.